It's New Year's Eve. Time to celebrate 2025 and welcome in a new possibility in 2026. The year of no matrix, no tricks, just flicks of the camera in the mix.
For all you hicks.
Anyway, it's good to be with you.
It's good to be with you, brother. Yeah, this
Yeah.
is last day of the year.
It's a Wednesday and people are at work and trying to get their
Do you
New
think
Year's
they're
Eve
at work?
things.
Really?
Well, I know several people that are at work.
Wow.
And here we are. For those of you who are sneaking onto your phones while at work, or those who you are just waking up, welcome to our brief live little Outlaw Outtakes, where we get to be a little looser, say some funny shit, talk about movies.
Yeah.
And if you come in at the right moment, you're gonna get to hear something super cool.
All right.
But you said you were, before the show, you said you saw a movie, a Bradley Cooper movie. What was that movie?
Yeah, it's called Is This Thing On? It's Will Arnett and Dern. What's her name? Laura Dern.
Laura Dern.
Yeah. And Bradley Cooper and a few other great actors. The acting is phenomenal. And it was really an interesting story. It's about a guy who's getting a divorce. He has 2 kids. He's really broken up. He goes to a bar, wanting to just get a drink, and they're like $15. He's like, what? Why? And someone else just walks in and she's like, how come she walked in? No, it's a comedy show. They're on the list. He's like, I'll put my name on the list. So he starts doing stand-up. Yeah. I think you would really like it. It was good.
Yeah, I love the premise just right off the bat.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, that's it. And the acting again was just really solid. Laura Dern's always a powerhouse, and Will Arnett did it was excellent. I also saw this other movie that was really good. And I can't
still here. Apparently I've gone
frozen.
Too many resources being consumed by my machine. There we go. I'm back.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. I want to go see Avatar Fire Goddess or whatever it is.
I never saw the second one. Did you see the second one?
Yeah, for sure.
It was good.
Well, yeah, I love the whole immersive world and the environmental consciousness that's in the storytelling. And I'm a nut for technology and film. And so the idea that he's taking human performances that are captured by cameras and mapping those to skins is, to me, that's another form of craft. It's not AI, right? It is technological for sure. But watching the making of, seeing how they're in this giant mocap studio and they have all these dots on them, and they also have these things sticking out from their faces that are capturing their whole facial expression and the way they do the dialogue, as well as the actual performance audio wise. And then it's getting translated into a whole new, cinematic experience that can be, dialed in real time. That's fantastic. I love that.
Yeah, I agree that he is what you just said. And I saw in an interview him saying in essence, I saw him say CGI is never going to capture human emotion in the face and all that elements. So that's always going to just be a part of the process.
And neither will AI, I don't think.
I don't think so either. I'm trying to remember if it was on our podcast or was it another podcast I was listening to where they were talking about that creative element will never be in AI. That consciousness, they will never be in AI. Oh, Jonah's downstairs. He brought his piano up to the living room. I was hearing music. I was like, what the hell's going on here? Jonah's downstairs playing his piano.
Yeah, That's cool. We can't really hear it on the show, which is too bad.
Yeah, I can bring the mic down.
Yeah, nah. But it might be interesting to have him on the show.
Yeah,
Has
I
he ever
wonder.
talked?
Yeah, maybe he would be our first episode of season 6.
I'm down.
All right, all right.
Let us know. We'll let you know. Tune in. You're either going to get an episode Monday, or you're not going to get an episode Monday.
Because right
And if
now we don't have nothing scheduled.
right, and it was by design. Like I literally, like if you saw the podcast this week, I expressed some serious like ennui or like just the expression of, oh, this is tiring. 5 years, like give me a break. I want to. And so where I ended up was, I'm going to take 2 weeks at Christmas, and then we managed to do 2 episodes one day, so there wasn't a gap. And this week was going to be a day off, but you know what? I'm still here and I'm open to it, and we're making plans for 2026.
Yeah.
And speaking of AI and 2026, check this out. Turn it up. All right, listen up.
We hit the back roads when the world speeds past. 2 souls unmasked in search of what lasts. Through laughter and loss, through storm and calm air, we find what's sacred in the stories we share. Every mile a mirror, every voice a flame. We outlaw seekers without shame. Ride in the doubt, in the wonder untamed. Find yourself in the echoes of a name. Hey! Ride into the new year with fire in your eye. The road is our church, the truth is our prize. Stories on wind, like stars in the sky. Ride on, let the old world lie. Heartbeats like chains, rhythm of the ride. We ask the questions others dare not say. Destinies collide where the hard truths hide. In the hum of a moped, we find a new way.
It just
Adventure continues.
Yeah, it does. Hey, I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What would it look like for us to rise up to that, like, you know, burning level where you're just like, this shit is on fire?
What would it take?
No, what would it look like?
Oh, what would it look like? Um, 3 two-wheel vehicles. One has a camera crew, 2 hosts, um, a basic back office that is a really talented, very interested booking person who finds us amazing people. But also you and I just following our nose into the wilderness, into the highway, and then so enough revenue to create awareness, i.e., advertising that people would see at a high enough level that people would finally find out it's here, right? And
Right.
be able to go like, man, I want to check that out, right? Because right now, I don't know, like maybe 100 people are sort of being given the opportunity to tune in. You know, we got our small subscriber list. But if suddenly you're cruising through Instagram or you're cruising through TikTok and it's 10,000 people saying the thing and then clicking the link to go watch the whole episode, that's going to mean, you know, a bunch more people get to hear these conversations and get to think the both challenging and liberating thoughts that are part of what it is to know and be involved with the Moped Outlaws. So it could take off. You know, we could be, you know, riding to LA to a comedy club and seeing and having interviews with Dave Chappelle, or, you know, riding to someplace, Ohio, right? And meeting people that work at Dave's club, right? Not necessarily Dave, but it'd be really fun to talk to the bartender there, or, you know, the booking agent, or, you know, and not just Dave's world, but, you know, there are 100,000 heroes in America. There's 1,000,000 heroes in America
There's
who
millions.
don't tell their stories on network TV or get movies or books written about them,
Yeah, you know
or
what I was just
Netflix specials. Go ahead.
I was just thinking of this gentleman and his wife when I was working at Safeway a few years ago. They traveled 2 hours each way to get to Safeway because he was an ex-con. He had face tattoos and stuff, and so Safeway was one of the few places that would employ him, and the only place they'd put him is in Mill Valley, and he lived way out in, like, the Sacramento Valley.
She had to
That
commute from Sacramento to work at the Safeway in Mill Valley.
Yeah, yeah,
Wow, that's
and
brutal.
that to me is a hero, and part of their dedication was they had children, you know, they had a family.
Mhm.
That's a fucking hero, man.
Yeah, well, he got through his penance, so to speak, and now he had obligations to fill. He had um, integrity to uphold with regards to the existing real life situation, which was the woman who bore him children and the children. And, you know, one could say that he could do better than Safeway, but that, how do we know? Like, who knows what he's capable of? But the fact that he was unwilling to fold his hand
Right.
and was willing to play at the level at which, all right, if I have to drive that many, I mean, on a certain level, he's like working for free for the first 4 hours, it sounds like,
Well,
just in gas. But
the other thing, I think that was about when I gave notice, when I heard from him what he was doing, because I was wondering about this whole thing with the union, and the union's supposed to help you. And I was like, well, have you talked to union people? Like, aren't they helping you to get closer to home? He's like, yeah, I've talked to them and nothing's going on. And I was like, oh, fuck the union, man.
It's a tough situation. I think the real story isn't fuck the union, because I'm sure the union has its own problems to deal with.
Yeah, to
It's not
me, they're collecting
we
money.
all wanna imagine a union that could fix all our problems for us. But, the guy getting in the car every day and making it to, his job, that's the heroic story I like, and I think those kinds of stories, it'd be fun to sit down with both of them and, like, hear that what the union guy says,
See,
because I've been on the both sides of those things. I've seen
uh,
how limiting certain things can be, and the union members have an expectation that the union is gonna be able to fix everything and make it right, and, you
at
know
least give it some effort. From what I saw, they gave no effort. The representatives I witnessed collected, strolled around with managers, and gave no effort to the actual employees. That was my experience.
Hmm. Yeah, well, I know that, I don't know anything about that union. I've been in, IATSE, which is the theatrical television stage and technicians, and, those guys that was a real brotherhood and sisterhood, because there were some sisters in IATSE that I met. And, we stuck together, we supported each other, our reps fought for us. Granted, in the San Francisco market, there's a lot more abundance as far as what can be drawn from the economy. But I think in places where there's less abundance of work for, let's just say, IATSE workers, it's a lot harder to push at those margins, because people won't bring their events or shows there. But I've heard, like, even with rock and roll concerts, some of the union, strength in some of these venues is watered down by the leverage of these big, touring operas, and
Mm.
they say, "Look, we're bringing this thing to your town, which should be enough, and we're gonna put the workers we want," which means there aren't gonna be as many local union hires. Because
You
we're
know,
bringing through, right? And so that it's difficult to hold the line. And I think we're in a time in American history where the gains that were won through, the great Pullman riots and some of the other important union battles that happened over the years are very quickly being eroded by the modern, robber barons of our era.
mm, mm, robber barons. That to me would be my part of my dream, like of us being on fire, Moped Outlaws, is that we are able to, in some manner, be energetic in that realm of robber barons and political chaos, where we're bringing light and lightness to these areas, and transformative, some change that can last a few centuries for humanity.
Yeah, well, more and more I realize that starts with me individually, and then it like an amazing field of flowers that populate the hillside. We Once we start taking care of our own backyard, things start to shift on a global scale. And I really think that what the healer said of the 5 meter sphere of influence, if we just each took care of our 5 meter sphere of influence, it would change the world
Yeah,
overnight.
that was Sid originally.
Yeah.
And, and look where Sid is. I mean, that, like, the realities of reality.
Well,
It's
there's the do as I say, not as I do example, if I ever
right.
saw one.
That's the thing. Like, I think part of my, we are on the very last day of 2025, and I've seen some wonderful memes, like, that are like, "Year in review, fuck that. Let's move on." Because it really has been a chaotic year, I think, just looking on a global level. Um,
Well, one
and
of the ways that media and what we might call psychological operations handicap us is by getting us to constantly be in a doom scroll fear cycle. And we forget the miracle that's all around us.
Right.
And we focus on our fear, and because we're being we're being uh, literally pushed through our own psychological mechanisms, our own addiction to dopamine and scrolling, but also through the narrative, because fear makes us easier to control.
Do you think it's conscious though? And like, because there's this element of like Big Brother and this conscious thing, like, let's create fear in society because then they're handicapped and we can just pull all their energy and resources for our own gain. And I just wonder if it's really that conscious.
Well, what you mean by really that conscious might be needed to be spelled out a little bit, but there are actual what's called psychographics. It's like demographics, where people's psychological makeup and the triggers that impact them are definitely a part of all commercial calculus, especially in the media industry. And in the race for attention, in the attention economy, as they call it, eyeballs translate to market influence, and psychological manipulation is the game all the algorithms are playing. And it is conscious, because it wouldn't work that way if it wasn't.
So bringing it back to what you said earlier about starting with me, my own garden, I've noticed in this new romantic relationship that I have going in my life that there is a consistent the choice to choose love and joy or fear is constantly there. And I've noticed like, oh, I think I used to choose fear in my past. I'm going to choose joy. I'm going to choose love. And letting go of that need to control. Like just a few days ago, I was like, wait a minute. I'm a co-creator in this scenario. I'm not here by myself. There's someone else involved. They're part of it too. Like this idea that like, oh, the relationship, I got to make it right. What do I need to do? What's like, whoa. Are you forgetting there's someone else involved? Like give some space for things to evolve.
Well, in a world that is constantly using fear and trauma to manipulate us, we become overtly anxious. And so it doesn't surprise me that in something as powerful as a close or intimate, erotic, and romantic relationship, that grasping and fear of loss would come up. But the thing is, you actually have already won. There's no loss now, because you've had this experience so far, and whatever happens after that, there's this undeniable truth of joy having occurred. And so don't complicate it by grasping and fear into it. Just let joy be the thing. Yes, I see you gesturing.
Well, like, yeah, because what you just said, you bring that to everything in every aspect of life. That's with Moped Outlaws, like we expressed in this week's episode, that challenge of like, fuck, this has been a grind for 5 years. I'd like a break. And I loved how you said, and I'm still here. Like I'm sharing with you my inner thoughts. I'm not acting on them. I'm sharing them.
Yeah.
To do that in all our aspects of life. I know you're involved with so much in your life, and me as well, hopefully, knock on wood. Like if we bring that joie de vivre, again, you and I talked earlier about the Taylor Swift behind the scenes documentary that's on, I think it's on Disney. And and what I was thinking about today, because there's a lot of feminine energy, obviously, in the creation that is being created by so many people. And she is the leader. She is the spearhead of it all. And I was thinking of empowerment and leadership. And it's been so masculine as I grew up. That leadership was a masculine energy. And thinking of the way she does it. Where am I going with all this? I forgot. I spaced out. We were talking about blah, 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 blah.
We're talking about relationships
Yeah,
and not
but
grasping at fear.
right, and Moped Outlaws and showing up.
Yeah.
I don't know. I
It
guess.
looks like you ran out of road there on that thought train.
Yeah, I did. I got lost.
Well, that means it's time to just take a breath, look around, appreciate where you are. You know, it's New Year's Eve. There's a lot of people thinking about tomorrow. But I tell you what, don't rush midnight. It's not even midnight.
I
So just
love you
be with this
tomorrow.
right now. I
You're
hope that
always
if you want it,
oh,
you get kissed at midnight. And if what you want is a nice, quiet evening at home by yourself, I hope you get that. May all of our listeners find health, wealth, happiness, peace, and love in this moment.